something fun. Better be fun. Okay. Oh, that's my number.
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Is it?
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Just really fucked up.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee 427. Press O on your keyboard. I pressed O multiple times on my keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
My desk.
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Chosen?
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
So much more interesting.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
So I've done everything, except for just leave the phone and not answer it.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Wow.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
One more time, and I need to find out.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Here we go. Press 4 to be at work. Do not do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to be at work again. I'm not going back to the start. No. I need to find out how to disarm that bomb. Can hear the clock tick. You told me not to press it. This can't be a trap. I don't have the button 4 on my keyboard. I forgot. Can't do it anyway. I'm sorry this isn't going to make for a very exciting video, but yeah, I want to try every avenue there is here. okay. Get the feeling that there's no other thing I can do except for press 4. Yeah. Okay. Okay, 4,
You
that's
see?
it.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see.
This guy's so
Maybe
fucking
this
creepy.
time.
What?
And I tried again.
Please
And Stanley
die!
pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
His voice must have made my mind pop. Around the corner. And
All
while
of
I
his
was doing
co-workers
some
were
reading,
gone.
I
What could it
discovered a
mean?
few little interesting
Stanley decided to
things.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
This
simply
window
missed a
glitch.
memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all
Fantastic.
along. He then praised the game
It's
for its
not a glitch.
insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes.
Yes,
So,
creepy
now
narrator.
that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be?
Yeah,
Why
let me
don't we take a
respawn.
minute just to drink it all in?
Please take me back
Okay,
to my office.
I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of
Can't
this
be saying
gag
that.
yet?
Oh. Are you sick of this gag? Yes.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like right now.
It's true.
You could have done it just then.
Yeah, I could
Now
have.
would also be an appropriate time to quit.
Certainly could have
Any
done
of
that
these
too. Mm-hmm.
points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Go.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly.
That's right.
But the truth must be told, he was not very old
Oh.
and was quite particularly gangly.
What?
What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton.
That's right.
He did it all day in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I got
But
paid
his
for it.
brain had long ceased to function.
Yeah.
Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible.
Yeah.
And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
Hey. There is one route that I haven't tried yet. You know, take the right door when it gives us 2 options. But I'll actually go to the meeting room. That might change something ahead in the office. Maybe that elevator will go somewhere. Yeah, I haven't actually been through there. Now, how long does this go for? Yep, the song's infinite, I think. Begin the game again. Quit the menu. And then there's never the end is loading.